what conversations are being had about technology right now?
AI is
Okay,
the big word right now,
right.
machine learning, everything that evolves around that. But I mean, Tampa Bay in general has a high sector of cybersecurity, and because we also have a big financial service industry that comes with fintech.
Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to Talking St. Pete. I'm your host, Ryan Bogdan. Before I get into today's amazing guest, I want to let you know that this episode is sponsored by Bogdan Homes. So if you know anyone looking to buy, sell, or invest in the greater Tampa Bay area, please find our contact information in the description below, as we're here to help. And we believe that luxury is not a price point, but it is an experience. And now, on to my beautiful guests. I have Meghan O'Keefe, the Executive Director of Tampa Bay Tech. Meghan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I think that's the best introduction I've ever had. So
Yeah?
I appreciate it.
Oh, good. I've had a little practice. So we met at a networking event, as you are doing amazing networking things around town, and St. Pete is a connecting place, and you're doing that in the tech world with Tampa Bay Tech. But what is that?
Yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
And I know I was fangirling over Ryan at an event after listening to the podcast. So
Which is so cool.
appreciate you bringing me on. It's very full circle right now.
Yes, it's cool. It's cool.
But Tampa Bay Tech is an organization that's actually been around for 24 years. So a lot of people don't realize that. I feel like we're gaining momentum and some acknowledgement in the area, but it really was put together all those years ago for the few technical people and tech companies that were here when, the popular industries were hospitality and different things that you wouldn't really think that Tampa Bay was a tech community yet. And so it was this kind of meetup group for people to get together and understand what the new technologies were, how to utilize them in their own organizations, and continuing to educate themselves on what's going on. And so we've developed that and continued to progress. It originally was called the Tampa Bay Internet Forum. So if that
Makes sense, because as you said 24 years ago, I'm like, okay, 2000,
yeah.
the dot-com boom.
Yeah, so everybody was really hyper-focused on that, obviously. So it does show that the organization is willing to change with what the technologies are focusing on and adapt to what that looks like and how to better serve the community. But we are a membership-based 501c6 nonprofit, and so our whole thing is focusing on the technicians in the area and helping them get that tech programming, career development for themselves, their teams, and their organizations, and getting them more connected into the whole tech ecosystem here in Tampa Bay.
Which, you're right. I'm glad this exists, because I don't think people think tech when they think Tampa Bay. Right?
Yeah.
Or do they? And I'm just out of the loop. I don't know.
I think the narrative's changing. And
good.
And that's what we're trying to help with.
Yes.
There has been founders that have done great things, have built their companies here, have sold their companies here those 20 years ago. There's still people who are very active in the area, the Tom Wallaces, the Tony Benedettos, and people like that who helped form Tampa Bay Tech, establish it, and have done amazing things, but maybe didn't have the legs back then. Like I said, how we were really known as the vacation spot or hospitality industry, but now there's a better focus on technology, what's happening here, the people that have been here and expanding it, but then also the companies and the people that are moving here and helping to grow it as well.
So if I'm listening to this and I'm like, well, I'm in tech and I am not a part of Tampa Bay Tech, what are some reasons that people are joining Tampa Bay Tech, other than being to be surrounded, but what is some value that's coming out of that community?
Yeah, no, definitely. We're a little different. There's a lot of really great meetups, organizations, nonprofits that are focusing on the tech ecosystem right now. And it's needed because we're growing so much and we're all a little different in different ways. Where our organization is a little different is we are a regional organization. So we are helping the people in the organizations in our whole Tampa Bay region. And even companies that feel like that they don't have the similar resource that might be outside of that. From Orlando through Naples, we have members, but we do focus internally on our region and helping our members there. but also we're a little different where we are for the organization. We're an enterprise membership. So we might have a main point of contact, or we might really want to try to engage the CTOs, CIOs, the tech practitioners in the area, but our membership can also be utilized by their whole organization. And
so this is the way that the business is happening in between other businesses. This is a very B2B community.
Yes and no.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of our programming is for the people that are in it, but our whole hope is that there's collaboration and partnership within our member companies. And so that even though a lot of them are headquartered here and the people are living here, it's a lot of companies of the bigger brands, the Googles, the Accentures, soft serves that are international brands, but have a big presence here, and getting them more connected to the community in Tampa Bay so that they can have those local resources that help them.
Makes sense. Pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And you guys just had a large event.
We did. Powered Up is our biggest event of the year. It's our half-day tech conference. So, we had it at the Mahaffey Theater here in St. Pete, which is my favorite event that I'm very happy that we can host it in St. Pete. It's a perfect venue, right on the water. For anybody that's familiar with St. Pete, definitely one of the best venues. And it's really cool to be able to share the stage with some of the people that come through for concerts and stuff, and then be able to host our tech conference there with different speakers.
Yeah, that's really cool, and definitely puts us on the map, right? Because Tampa Bay Tech, and then to do it in St. Pete, it's kind of you.
Yeah. There's always some people who want us to move it to Tampa, but we do our big award show there, so we try to.
So it's best, yeah. You
get. We bring things back on both sides of the bridge and make sure that everybody's getting a little wealth of Tampa Bay Tech.
Good. I'm glad. So how did you get involved? Because you were doing something even pretty cool before you became executive director of Tampa Bay Tech and moving businesses here, correct? And attracting different companies.
Yeah. So I worked at the St. Pete Economic Development Corporation. And as much as we focus on the economic development of the city of St. Pete, my whole goal and my whole role was developed to do the outward approach and prospecting of companies and attracting them to move their organizations to St. Pete.
So what does that look like? If you're I'm so curious now, because if we're on talking St. Pete, we're talking about the city that's innovative, it's growing, more people are coming here. So now you're reaching out to businesses. What's your sales pitch or value prop that you're going and saying, this is why you need to be in St. Pete?
I mean, the discussions changed quite a bit, and I've been gone for a year and a half now, but I started pre-COVID. So back then, the cost of living and being by a beach and the lifestyle, stuff like that, was really easy. And I think now still taxes are a huge thing. But the discussion back then was, have you ever heard of Tampa Bay, the region, Tampa over there? Well, we're St. Pete over here. Have you ever heard of us? Would you be interested in learning more about us? Little longer discussion post-COVID where people are contacting us saying, we're ready to move to St. Pete. How can you help us? Which was pretty amazing to see that transition.
Yeah, that made your life a little easier, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And we had different sectors that we focused on, but a lot of my outreach ended up being with startup founders that had the agility to make those kind of decisions. But a lot of financial services like ARK Invest, Dynasty Financial are companies that we helped move to the area that have played a big role in a lot of things that have been going on, and they're big community partners of giving back. And those are the type of companies that we want to expand here and grow here and help our community.
Definitely. We want to be new and innovative and all the cool things. So in the Tampa Bay Tech community, are you involved, or do you know what conversations are being had about technology right now? Start off as what was the original name?
Tampa Bay Internet Forum.
Internet Forum,
yeah.
Right? So I don't think we're talking about the internet in the same way that we are now. What high level, do you know what's the topic of conversation that
Yeah, I think AI is
okay.
the big word right now,
right.
Machine learning, everything that evolves around that. But Tampa Bay in general has a high sector of cybersecurity, and because we also have a big financial service industry, that comes with fintech. And so even a lot of those banks, financial planners, like those big companies, the Raymond James that are headquartered here, a lot of people don't realize they have a whole like innovative department or tech department that they're in the back, learning how to develop different things in AI or what can help them be more tech savvy in the services that they're either having for their partners or for the people who are working with them.
It's really cool to think about in this community, you being so involved. Like there's individuals that are spearheading new technologies, probably on a global level, and then and it's happening here in our backyard.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of cool things, and I think a lot of it. I feel like there is not a lot of great light shed on, and
but you're doing it. We're doing it right now.
We're trying to do it.
We're doing it right now.
But there's so many awesome things going on in St. Pete. I mean, we have the Innovation Center with Allison Barlow, where they have the Maritime and Defense Hub, which has a lot of really cool things coming out of there, and where she's helping those companies grow. And using that area too to like test different things and technologies and things that where St. Pete can be a little more innovative. And so, in that we have the ARC Innovation Center that just opened. Tanya Elmore.
Have you been there?
I have. Have you?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I've driven past it.
We'll have to get you in.
Yeah,
yeah,
that'd be cool.
They do great tours.
Yeah.
They took a little while for them to open up, but Tanya Elmore, who is the CEO there, she's been doing that for 20 years. But this is just a new building. So she's had a great influence on the ecosystem and, the startups that have been developing there. But I think this, building is something that we've needed where, not only for the founders that are here, but helping us get national, international attention to a lot of that and the programming that they have going on, but also giving us that space to have like more networking, more tech-focused events where we can have that space to collaborate and stuff.
I just made what I love what's happening is that on this show I talk all the time of how St. Pete's such a local business friendly area. And now through this conversation, I'm recognizing that it's even at a C-suite level, larger companies, there's still this community of connectiveness and people wanting to help each other and like really pouring back into the community, maybe even at a higher level. Like I've been so about supporting local business, but even the larger companies that are here are still intertwined and connected to the community. Oh,
yeah, definitely. And I think that's what's so great. I mean, St. Pete definitely, but our whole region, and that's how we thrive and how we're really different from these other regions is, people really want to help each other. And even if you're in the same industry, we see these like cyber security CEOs that might be doing the same thing, but they're coming to the same events. They're sharing knowledge that, that could be, help the other company, but they care more about growing the ecosystem and having a thriving ecosystem. And I mean, I think that's something definitely in my EDC days that I was always just like so like astonished and blown away with every time we'd have a company in town and the people that would come out and welcome them with open arms and give their perspectives of either why they're still here and living here or why they moved their companies or how they can help their company move and transition in whatever way. And it's just everybody's very collaborative
yes,
and also just like willing to give that helping hand.
What do you think St. Pete's missing?
That's a good question. I think like we have a lot going on, and I listened to your last podcast with the Kristen with the
Foodie Labs.
Yep. And I think like we've really thrived, and how we've always been different was like with the small retail, the mom and pop stores, restaurants, stuff like that. And I know she was even saying like we could use some more support on those, but I think the entrepreneur and these startups and, companies that are growing here and headquartered here, there's a little lack of support for them. And so I know like the St. Pete Greenhouse is working on some of that. But, definitely seems like earlier stage versus some of the support and need that might be there for some of the little more established companies that might not necessarily be as big as like the Raymond James and
Right.
stuff like
So
that.
that middle, call it the mighty middle.
Yeah.
The mighty middle needs some help.
Yeah, big
Okay.
gap. And so, I mean, that's where Tampa Bay Tech does help. But I think like the cities need to come in and have some resources for them as well, and just a better support system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tough, right? That's a tough thing to conquer, but I can see it. I can see it. There's a lot. I'm so excited about St. Pete. I get so excited, and like having these conversations is just like lights me up even more to hear all the cool things that are happening that not everyone knows about.
Well, and I mean, I know you're focused on the residential side.
For now.
Yeah. For now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the office as a whole, we have commercial happening.
So yeah, what are you guys seeing as far as, there was such a big boom of people moving here.
Mm-hmm.
Has that changed? Is the influx of people moving here still the same? Has it slowed down?
It has slowed down, but it's still significant. I think the amount of people, I have conversations with people weekly that are thinking about moving here or in the works or will be there in 6 months or whatever. So it's still happening, not as crazy as it was during 21, 22. And businesses are definitely happening. I mean, if I tell people, you want to see a place where there's economic growth happening, go count the cranes.
Yeah.
I lost count, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of cranes downtown. So from a commercial development standpoint, there's a lot of that happening. A lot of it's residential buildings. So you think of the more people that will be downtown shopping, spending money. These are people, sometimes second homes from New York or California. So there's still more room for economic growth and more money that will be infused into our local economy. So St. Pete's on the up and up.
It is. And I mean, talking about like lacking, like we always lacked commercial space. Even during COVID, there were some companies that had to transition out of their office spaces, but I feel like there was always people ready to like come in and scoop up the leases or sublease part of a space or something like that, because we just didn't have enough to start with.
Right.
Where, the New York Cities, the Chicagos, they were just seeing such a, like, people moving out, trying to get out of their leases.
They had the opposite.
And we had the opposite, which was very rare during that time.
Yeah. I think it's still the case. People want to be here, right?
Yeah.
And companies have pivoted and shifted. Although I think now there is the callback to work, right? The remote jobs are starting to become less and less. That's what I'm hearing. Are you hearing that? I mean, what's happening on the tech side? Are people working remote, or are they going in an office?
I think like what people are seeing and what I'm hearing too, because we have a lot of recruiting firms that are members as well, which is helpful, so we can hear that, like, what is going on, and and because there's different perspectives. The companies might want one thing, and the employees might want one thing, but what's actually happening? And so I think they're trying to find that middle ground now.
So it's like the hybrid.
Yeah. There's definitely the hybrid. I think it's really hard to ask people to come back full time unless it's certain jobs where you really need to be back, where the employees still have like some of that leverage of, all right, look, we were fully remote, give us something. And so there needs to be that.
What's your thoughts on it?
I've always been a person, I like the office, and that's been like my hard part, because there's just a team of 2 of us for Tampa Bay Tech, and so there is no office. And so I appreciate all the events we have and stuff to get that. But I've always been that person that enjoyed the office. So I understand. I mean, I definitely now have a better appreciation of working from home and get like having your space and time a little better to manage like other things is very helpful. But I think like especially in those entry level roles of like people coming in that have never had a full-time job before, and I mean it's a totally different curve than what you think you're learning about in college or wherever you're getting your training from, to like actually get into the office and learn from people. Even if you don't really think you're learning from people, you always are. And then just like learning those people skills of how to interact with everybody. good or bad, and having those understandings and being that team player. And I also think it just really helps the creative side of things. And as much as you might try to brainstorm on Zoom or whatever, I just don't think it's the connections as good there.
Great perspective. That's what I kept thinking the whole time you were saying. I was like, great perspective. That's phenomenal. I think you're right. Entry-level positions even more important to be in a place to learn professionalism and increase your EQ and how to communicate and hold a proper meeting and not do it over Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, where your camera's off and you're in pajama bottoms and right. Yeah. So no, I agree with that. And I tell running the KW St. Pete office here and having new people come into real estate, even if they had professional careers before, I tell them, come in the office and you'll succeed.
Yeah.
The success rate goes up tremendously because you are who you're surrounded by.
Mm-hmm.
So I think especially in job positions where you need motivation to, right?
Well, and just like support too. I think like it can be lonely when you're just working from home. And even if you are like tenured, like, and have experience, I mean, sometimes you're thinking some problem that you run into is like so big and you don't even think to ask other people because you're not around them. But it could be just like somebody in the coffee room and you just bring it up nonchalant and they're like, oh, wait, no, I have a contact for that, or whatever it is. And it's like, okay, all the stress and worry could have been mitigated so long ago. And so just some of that, people don't always think about, but can be very helpful.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. So you're seeing that the recruiters that you're having in Tampa Bay Tech, like is that hybrid thing that people are
yeah, they definitely want them in a little bit more. And I mean, I think people want them in full time. I don't know if that's really going to happen. And I think that's a really hard ask after, everything being so remote. And so that middle ground seems to be where people...
Which still requires you to be in location.
Yeah.
Right? Because that was the thing that happened during COVID. People, their headquarters was in Chicago, and they're working remote here because they never had to go into the office. But now that hybrid callback, you got to be in 2-3 days a week.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to move back to Chicago.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's like a whole thing too, right? And you guys probably saw that on the real estate side of, oh, now maybe I can buy that house in, Tarpon Springs, Palm Harbor versus downtown St. Pete. And then all of a sudden now I got to go back to the office downtown and I just moved 45 minutes, an hour away. What do I do now?
You drive.
Yeah.
You drive.
Can we carpool?
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Or you call us and we'll help you sell your house and get you a new one.
Come back down to St. Pete.
Yeah. I love downtown. There's just something about it.
It is. It's hard to beat, but I think there's a lot of different character in all of Pinellas County.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
That's why it is a cool spot too.
How long have you been here?
12 years in Tampa Bay.
Got it.
Yeah.
Where'd you come from?
I originally moved to Florida to work at FAU, but I mostly grew up in Iowa and went to school in Ohio.
Got it.
Yeah. So
Got it.
all over.
All over. Yeah. You come to Florida like the rest of us. I'm originally Pennsylvania, so.
Yeah. We spoke about that.
Yeah.
Because you were Pittsburgh?
Philadelphia.
Or Philly, other side.
Other side.
'Cause I'm from Meadville, near Erie.
Right. Yes. So we come down to the warmth and escape the cold. And there's so many people doing that. So when you're not running Tampa Bay Tech and all the great things that are happening there, what do you do? How do you spend your time in St. Pete?
I mean, I think that's the best thing about St. Pete is there's always something, and something for everybody. I met people on my last Yellowstone trip that actually are from Chicago, and then they were talking about having a family trip down to Siesta Key, but they're going to stop in St. Pete for the first time, if I've ever heard of it. It's like, yes.
That's what they said to you? Have you ever heard of St. Pete?
I just said I was like living in Florida, I think is like when we did like family introductions, my parents were like, we're all over kind of a thing, and just said I was in Florida. And so they have 2 small kids, and so I gave her a few suggestions and let her know if she needed anything else. But yeah, I mean, I have season tickets to the Rowdies.
Oh,
love going to those games. I've played soccer and still play soccer. That's another thing. We have awesome sports leagues for adults here.
Amazing.
So I play soccer once a week. I was on a kickball team. do a lot of that. And I try to stay
Active. Yeah.
Been big into pickleball.
Yes. How's that going?
Pretty good. I mean,
I haven't gotten that into it yet.
Oh, no?
I'm afraid because I know it's addicting.
Yeah. See, I started out, I was very addicted. And then, I started at Tampa Bay Tech, so I had to focus a little bit
Got to put down
on my career for a little bit.
Pickleball paddle.
But we had a member company, they're called SME Group, and they just did a fundraiser at the new pickleball courts in Ybor.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was there when I got the invite, and she's like, you need to tone down your how competitive you are. This is a charity event, but it ended up being fine. But no, it was a good time.
Yeah, pickleball is blowing up
Yeah.
big. I mean, everywhere, but
Well, that's a big concern in St. Pete.
What?
At the city council events is the noise level of
From pickleball?
pickleball courts.
Oh, I didn't hear that. That's a funny one.
Many complaints.
Yeah, I can
City
see
council.
that.
Yeah.
So they need to make quieter paddles.
Especially with like
There's a market. We just
Yeah.
Tampa Bay Tech.
well,
Where's my engineers?
They have it. They
Okay.
have it. It's called like paddle. What is it? Paddle. I don't know. My parents play it because they're in a community in Estero that doesn't allow pickleball because it's too loud. So they have
This is the funniest thing ever.
yeah. And so this is like thicker.
Paddles?
Paddles.
Like ping pong paddles that absorb the...
Yeah, but they're bigger, and then they play basically with a tennis ball. It's like deflated though, so it's not as loud. Yeah, it's like a whole thing. I was like dying.
You're
when I
teaching me something new. I did not know this.
There's a lot to learn.
About the pickleball noise level.
Yeah.
Shut down the pickleball at 9 p.m.
It was a whole issue at Crescent Lake.
because it was so loud.
Yeah, everybody's so close
Echoing
to
right
that.
off the water.
Yeah, everybody's so close, and so, and yeah, if have you played there at Crescent Lake?
I haven't played.
Oh.
I've like avoided it because I know I'll be in it.
Yeah, so I mean that's the place to play.
Yeah,
You can step on I like pickleball because I don't have to organize a group of people. I can just go and play.
You can just
There's
show up.
always people there.
You have a paddle, you're ready.
But yeah, I mean those houses were all.
Is there a flip flop system or something? How do you know who's next?
Yeah, there's a whole board on the side where you
Okay.
put your paddles in. And
Right,
so-
I knew there had to be something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're probably take it super serious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got to watch what side of the courts you play on too. Like one's definitely amateurs and one's more
Right.
advanced.
It's like the volleyball crew out at North Shore.
Oh, see, I haven't.
There's
that,
a whole
that intimidates me.
there's a whole flip flop system, and boy, do not.
Oh yeah, see, I wouldn't have known that.
Right. It's
Yeah, I
just
don't
like the
t-
paddle
I don't-
system.
I don't touch the sand over there.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. They don't mess around. Probably like the paddleball people. Okay, so watch out, Crescent Lake. I'm curious to see what the city does about the noise. That's interesting. Has anything come down that you heard of?
I don't think it's like ever really been voted on. I mean, they want to get those courts like redeveloped because there's like cracks and stuff, and so I think they're like kind of talking about not doing that so that it doesn't provoke more people to come
Oh
there and
goodness,
stuff like
that's
that.
awful. Like, let's
But I
find a
don't know.
better solution.
I don't pay attention.
I need to
to
start
this.
going to these meetings.
I don't know if it's still happening.
I got
This was
nothing
like
to
a couple
lose.
years ago.
Okay,
I think when
okay.
it like first got
All
big.
right, you're right. You're
And it
point
was
of-
like a
yeah.
new thing because I mean, you think about it, Crescent Lake's been around for a while. Those courts have been there forever. And then all of a sudden overnight, it's like a big thing and you're hearing that all the time. Like, I kind of get it.
I get it,
But
but I mean, people are being like they're moving.
yeah,
Don't hate them, join
we
them.
just need to find like the pickleball pros and move them into that area.
Right, just they all live there.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you're a pickleball person looking to move to St. Pete, reach out to Ryan.
Yes.
We'll set you up with a
Yes, we'll
new
set
house.
you up in Crescent Lake. Yes, love the plug. That's perfect. That's perfect. That's perfect. Where do you like to go eat? I like
Oh,
to ask
man.
everyone this. You should be prepared.
I know. I was like listening to their podcast too, and I'm like, I need to try the Foodie Labs. I've heard
Yes.
good things, and I love that. That's a new concept.
It's so cool. I haven't been there. I need to still go. There's a lot of places I have to go, but that was
Yeah.
just a couple weeks ago.
And Kristen's awesome. She probably doesn't remember me, but I worked with her a long time ago when I was at a marketing agency, and we helped her market her company in Tampa. But yeah, I mean, always so many good spots. I'm trying to think of.
You didn't come prepared with your list.
I really like
Meghan?
Mio's.
Okay, all right, there it is.
I used to go there all the time for lunch, and then he'd give me free baklava. So
Oh, that keeps coming back. That's a
yeah.
good owner right there.
Cassis is my staple.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What time do you like to go there? I feel like that's an important question because the vibe changes.
It does. I don't know. I like to go by myself, sit at the bar, And
What is this? A Saturday morning, Sunday brunch? When
no,
are
it's
you?
usually
Friday
like
evening,
a weekday
Tuesday
dinner.
night.
Yeah,
It's a Tuesday night.
I need my own space. Probably after a big event we had, I'm
Okay.
like, I need to.
The bar there is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's a great bar. I feel
Yeah.
like you feel like, I don't know, you're back in time a little bit. You know, I feel like
Yeah.
it's like a good old bar.
It is a good spot.
Yeah. I like the Cease for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So you got some good ones.
Yeah. Always. I mean, I don't know if we're downtown proper, but Pia's is always a good spot.
Piazza's come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be downtown.
Okay.
Yeah, Piazza's come up. That's on my list too. I need to make a list of all the spots.
I know I was just at lunch at Social Roost, and he brought up, 11 Chicks? Have you been there? I think it's Peruvian.
You know this spot? I don't know it.
I've heard good things. It's always on like I Love the Berg.
Yeah.
And that's where I go to
I feel like my head's been in the sand or something. I don't know what's going on.
And he was talking about how good it is, and I'm like, that should be on my list. But agree, I need to like do that. And then I think there's a new Indian place I just read about on I Love the Berg.
You're in tune.
And I mean, it just
happens.
I Love the Berg.
Yeah, I know.
What else do you need for your news resource? I Love the Berg and St. Pete Catalyst.
You're right. Yeah, they got it all. They got it all. And listen to Talking St. Pete. Subscribe, like, share.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So you got all the good spots, and you were into pickleball, doing that. I mean, St. Pete just keeps giving back, right? There's just always something to do.
It is. I mean, all the music festivals, all the museums.
Do you have a favorite museum?
It's hard to beat the Dolly.
Yes. I love Dolly.
Yeah.
Have you done the 360 immersion thing?
I haven't yet.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's
I've heard
good.
Good things.
It's
and I know
amazing. They make his art come to life.
That is cool. It is cool. They always have like good smaller exhibits where it's like teaches you how to do something or changes your face into whatever, and you're like, oh wow, yeah.
You never think about that, but as like you think about a creative mind like Dali, who saw these crazy images in his mind, they weren't stagnant.
Oh yeah.
But when we look at a painting, it's stagnant.
Yeah.
So to see this 360 immersion, and they made certain parts of the painting like wiggle or move, and like how he may have saw it, you're like, whoa, there's a lot going on. And there's a line that he says of that there's so much beneath the surface of this painting.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. And so they did a great job. Although I think we need to help them raise a little more money. They could use a better sound system.
Yeah.
And some comfier chairs.
Well, that's what's going on, right?
Right.
They're looking to expand and
Yes.
get all that from the county. So it'll be exciting. They're actually a member of ours and won, Tech Project of the Year last year for the Tampa Bay Tech Awards. Because they were always doing these innovative exhibits and stuff. And they invited me to go through, I don't know if you've ever heard of like their innovative labs that they have, and they have different workshops.
You get to do all the cool things.
I mean, these are open to the public. People just don't know about them.
Yeah, come on.
So they have, I don't know how many times a year that they put this on, but it's like not even a half day, like probably like 3-hour thing. And it talks about like how to be more innovative in your strategic thinking or creative,
all right, next
creativity.
one. I want to come.
Yeah. I think I'm all done. But there's 2 of them, and I think they're going to be expanding on them. But
okay.
If you're a company too, like you can like contract them to help you with like strategic thinking or just kind of doing some kind of strategy session where if there's a problem you're trying to like think through as an organization or as a team or something that you're trying to figure out and just want somebody to like moderate or like bring you through, they do that. And so it's a cool way of doing it, and they do it along with like all these different Dolly examples and things, and you'll go up into the space and look for different things that you're talking about. And so they do a good job of like bringing it all together, and still making it like a Dolly theme, but not too far out there. Like it still makes sense within your business and stuff. So it's really cool what they
I'm
have
intrigued.
going on.
I love that. I love innovative thinking and strategic thinking. That's my degree is in entrepreneurship and innovation management, and so our whole thing was like how to think outside the box.
Yeah.
Like, and then outside that box, let's just keep going out and out and out.
Which is like super important, and I feel like that isn't taught enough. And I mean, there's organizations like ARC Invest they started their foundation in Pinellas County where they're going through and trying to put that into the education system. I think like last year they launched it into every 6th grade classroom, but it is like, I don't know exactly what the programming is and stuff, but just teaching people to think a little more innovatively, a little differently, and what that can mean, you know? And
well, and I think it's important to teach how to collaborate, because it's like biased and or stereotypical to shut down what seems like a stupid idea.
yeah.
But a stupid idea could lead to a great idea.
Exactly.
Like
or everything seems like it has to be so black and white, but does
yeah.
it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And all thoughts string together, like, to the next. And that's like one thing we learned when I was going through that, of like, how do we take, okay, that idea, but there may be that one piece of that was actually good that could lead to a greater, cooler idea.
Yeah.
And ideas are, I sat down with a guy once who was way smarter than me. Like, you know those people you sit down in front of and you're like, wow,
Yeah.
I am not that smart, right? And we were talking about how interesting, not even interesting isn't the right word, how hard it is to come across an idea that changes the world. And if there's 8 billion people in the world having X amount of thoughts a day, and then you think about how many thoughts actually manifest into something that changes, like, it's very limited. And it was the saying of like, as a business owner or someone who's entrepreneurial, to think that you're going to have the next crazy idea is kind of, I don't know, far-fetched.
Yeah.
It may be easier to pity back someone else's good idea and bring your other tools that you have to help that idea succeed.
Yeah.
So I think in these think tanks and these innovation centers, like, helping ideas come to life
Yeah.
is super important
definitely.
and cool.
And I think like,
Did that make sense?
Yeah.
All right.
And well, I think like too, you know, people, it's starting to get popular to be more of an innovator and entrepreneur and stuff, but people get stressed about, well, I'm not a big idea person, or how am I going to think of this one big idea when, like, to your point, you don't have to. What's like that one small thing that just changes it a little bit? That could totally, it doesn't even have to be the same niche, like totally go into this other side of things.
And I feel like you're probably seeing that a lot. Like, your world is neat in Tampa Bay tech because you're surrounded by so many great thinkers and innovators, and then to watch connections be made that bring ideas to life is fascinating.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that's something that's always talked about in a lot of we have like these smaller councils, or like peer groups within our membership for people to utilize, and that's like something that's always discussed, because I think people do put too much pressure, not even to be that executive or whatever, but in their own roles, like, how do I really make a difference, or how do I change like all this, or do I need to be the one to implement AI? And it's like, no, like, but it could just be helping make a better process for something that really no one thought about, and that could save everybody in hours of time. And, you know, like, just things like that might not sound sexy, but still could make a huge difference.
Do you use AI?
I mean, I'm all over ChatGPT.
It's like a new social media platform.
I know. I'm like, it's bad now. I'm like, when I go to like write my own emails, I'm like, oh,
let's throw it in chat and see what it can do.
But it is. I mean, I used to be like, really love writing and stuff. I did a lot in college, and so to me, I'm like, oh, I don't love it.
Do you find yourself, but like, are you retraining your brain to fall onto that, to where the creative won't come out? I think that sometimes if I go to AI, I'm like, am I dampening my own idea magic? Yeah.
Well, I think it comes down to like things that we're talking about, where people think like AI is going to take these jobs and stuff. I mean, yeah, if you're not educating yourself and totally getting blown past with all this stuff, but there's always going to be the people that need to put in those prompts. And
prompt engineering is a whole certificate course that you can go get.
But then, like, also, like, pulling the information out and what that really means. And this is something that I even see in, like, our own, just, like, creating our own social media posts. You know, like, I might put some information in, and when I get its response, I'm like, yeah, this is a good base, but it's not really the message that, or really our vision or our values of Tampa Bay Tech. So I still need to reframe it and, you know, because it doesn't understand our whole model and everything.
What do you think? This is a little like, it isn't far-fetched, but it may be for the listeners, but it's coming with Neuralink. Have you been paying attention to that at all?
That's
Elon Musk's chip thing that he's putting in people's brains.
And did that get
It's working.
FDA approved?
There was, I don't know if it's FDA approved, but I just saw that there was a gentleman that just came on a podcast that has it in his brain, and he's a quadriplegic, and he can move the cursor on the TV and play games on the computer using his mind now.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing.
So I think about AI, like
Yeah.
what happens when there's a chat GBT in my head.
I know. Yeah. Is there going to be creativity anymore? Or
I don't
is it
know.
just this computer?
Or is it a combination? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's cool to think about, and we're thinking about tech and innovation, and I think that is closer than what we think, right? What's that law? Is it Myers? What's the law when like innovation and like computing power will just keep getting stronger and stronger? I don't know it.
No, you were the.
Jesus,
This is your
I'm
realm.
I'm googling this quick. I've never
I was a
done this.
communications major, so
I'm just a random garbage can of information. Increase. I don't know. Let's see. Oh yeah, Moore's law
There you go.
is a term used to describe the increase in computing power over time. Moore's law is the observation that the number of transistors on an integrated circuit or microprocessor doubles every 2 years. A transistor is a tiny. Oh yeah. So our computing power doubles every 2 years.
Which is pretty crazy.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
Bonkers. I'm just gonna say it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all exciting things. I think, even, I don't know, my brother's a developer, and we were talking about it on our vacation. And it is, no one really knows where it's going. But I think, like, the worst thing you can do is just not look into it or not explore it and not understand it, because you will get left. Like, this is a thing now. It's like when everything else, the internet was invented, like the people who didn't want to touch it and didn't want anything to do with it, like, you're going to get left behind. But for the people that you don't even have to put that much effort into it, but just having that understanding how you can utilize it in your job, what it is, will just keep you along with those roles and your positions and in your careers. And so I just feel like there's a unnecessary
You have to.
scaredness out of this right now.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, here's this new tool. Use it or get left behind.
Yeah. It's not to the point yet, so there's still time for people to like check it out and understand it and whatever. It's not crucial.
Can you imagine going to school with this?
Yeah.
The universities have to be, like, they already are.
I know. It is like, they have, softwares to detect these softwares that are, it's just
but as
like
the software
one loop
learns
of
to get around the software, it's like a battle of the softwares. I don't know. Crazy. Tell me about Yellowstone. I know we're changing gears here a little bit, but I haven't been there. Was it awesome?
Amazing. Obviously, always hard to leave St. Pete, but no, just great change of pace. My brother lives in Denver and, gets the mountains out there, but I really haven't done a ton of like mountain stuff and really being
Had to leave the beach a little bit.
Yeah, really being in that area. So it was great. Yeah, no TVs anywhere in sight, rarely any service. Yeah, a lot of really cool things. Saw grizzly bear, wolves, tons of bison.
Whoa.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
That's so cool. And you being in like the tech world and being surrounded by, I just happen to be on, I'm sure, all the time. It's probably good to go disconnect a little bit.
For sure, yeah. I knew it'd be like a little disconnected, but I was like, I'll be able to check my email at certain hotels and whatever. And it was like very rare.
I think it's good. It's good to disconnect. How did it feel when you came back?
Good, yeah. I felt like, again, I told you, like, that's my first, like, real vacation in years. So it was just, much needed and, really nice to just, like, be in nature, not just, like, at, in a city or, taking time off here. Really having that disconnect is definitely worth it. And, you forget about that, how much it makes a difference.
Yeah, I like to talk about that on here a little bit, like the mental health aspect of, go, but to get away is super important and disconnect. I'm a big proponent of it.
I know. That's what I'm trying to find a better balance. Like first time leading an organization too, and
it's a lot of pressure.
I only have one employee, and I, definitely make sure I try to encourage her to do it. But I know if she's looking at me and trying to get an example, I'm not going to do
That's
that.
the hard part about leadership. Yeah. Is being the example. Yeah. Shines the light on everything immediately.
But it's, also like the first year I knew I was kind of like heads down. You can do it for a year and figure things out. And so now I'm able to like.
Yeah, well, that's cool that you guys are getting to a spot. So what's the future for Tampa Bay Tech look like?
I mean, a lot of cool things, obviously. Always.
Yeah, what's the next thing in the pipeline? Like, what are you guys planning for?
We're already planning our awards show. So that'll be on November 1st at Armature Works.
Cool.
But that's like our second biggest event of the year, and it's open to the public, and so are nominations. So it really is a cool celebration of all tech in our community, and that's why we make sure to not just have it for our members, but open it up because we want to make sure that we're celebrating the.
I'm glad we brought this up. So how do people nominate?
Yeah, well, we're kind of going through and adjusting some of the criteria and stuff now, and just finalizing, making sure. Our award show has been going on.
So it's a little early. Am I a little early to?
Yeah. No, I mean, it'll be released. Like we sent out save the dates, so everybody does know it's November 1st. But we'll probably have our nomination forms out in like around 2 weeks. And
Dom, can you mark that on the calendar? Thank you.
Yeah. So I mean, it's Tech Project of the Year. Usually, these are the main categories that we have. But Tech Leader of the Year, Emerging Tech Leader of the Year, Tech Company of the Year, and Emerging Tech Company of the Year. And we might have a few additions this year. Trying to go through that now.
This is cool. I'm coming.
But yeah, anybody can, and that's like the whole thing. Nominate whoever that you think needs to be nominated on there and celebrate the tech projects. It's hard for companies to really talk about, what they've done, the cool things that they're doing. And so this is a way to kind of highlight
Well, I love
those.
the nomination piece because as entrepreneurs, we don't celebrate our wins enough.
Exactly, yeah.
And
that's the other problem. Like a lot of people don't want to nominate themselves. So we try to encourage like, well, if you're working with somebody or, whatever, but definitely open to nominating yourself. Like, we have people aren't judging you on that. We really want to know like what's going on out there. Who do we need to celebrate and, learn those stories and be able to help everybody tell those and get that
awareness
exposure.
is key. Awareness is super important. You can do something really cool, but no one knows about it.
Yeah, which is fine. A lot of people like to be head down, and they're not in it for that. But
well, I'm saying, but at some point, there's no point in doing something cool unless you're going to share.
We need to know.
Yeah.
And no, it's just like, and I think like the more people we can get to talk about it and share their stories, I think, especially I feel like that's been a thing in St. Pete. A lot of our founders that we did have were really like head down. And traditionally in the past, like when I was first at the EDC, there wasn't a lot of funding here. So they were going elsewhere to get it and stuff. But now that everybody can be here and there's funding here and there's all the resources that they need, we want to like help celebrate who's here and what they're doing.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. I think that's a good spot to wrap it up. So how can they, if there's someone wants to get involved with Tampa Bay Tech, how do they go? How do they do that?
Yeah, we have our website, tampabay.tech, that they can look into. And, if their organizations want to join, we're happy to talk with them about that and see how we can get them plugged in. But we're also like great community partners with other organizations in the area. So if you're just really trying to explore as an individual, what resources there are for you, meetups or startup resources, same thing, can go to our website, fill out a form, and I'm happy to help you navigate that.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Meghan, it's been a pleasure. Appreciate you. If they're still with us.
Why wouldn't they be?
Well, just saying. You know what? People's attention spans are small. If they're still with us, what's one word they should comment below? The real winners. Who's here? What should they comment?
Oh, that's hard.
One word.
Tech.
tech.
Let's do it.
Comment tech below if you're still here with us on this awesome show.
Ryan will give you a follow back too.
Yes.
And I will too.
There you go. There you go. That's good. We haven't done that yet. That's smart. That's smart. We got to think on those things. Appreciate you. Thank you for everything you're doing for the community. You and Tampa Bay Tech. It's really, really awesome to hear. And yeah. So if you're still with us, comment tech. Go follow Tampa Bay Tech. Check them out. November 1st, Armature Works. Send your nominees of cool people out there doing awesome things. Appreciate you. Love you guys. Like, share, subscribe, share with a friend, do all the cool stuff. See you on the next one.